morning. My name is Amina. I'm reporting this from my home in Newburgh, New York, and I would like to talk to you about a craft called paper beads. You can probably see my necklace, and I'll also show you a jar of beads I have here. Now, I would recommend this craft probably for children ages 8 or 9 and up. This is not a project for young children, and you would not want a young child to have these due to the fact that the beads could be a choking hazard. So let me talk to you about what you would need to make this craft. You're probably going to find you have most of the items in your house, which is easy enough. You will need a ruler, scissors, paint brushes, a glue stick, Mod Podge or other type of liquid glue would be fine, toothpicks, and I shouldn't forget an old magazine or two. And if you've been ordering a lot of stuff online, you may have a scrap of styrofoam, which would also be very handy. Okay, so let me explain to you about how to make the paper beads and the best way to get set. Now, I should mention, you're going to make a template. So if you have a scrap of cardboard, you may have it in your recycling, you would want your beads to be about 1 inch wide by about an eighth inch, and about 5.5 inches long. If you have a printer and paper, you can also go online and look up paper bead template, and there are a lot of them. So that's also a good choice. But if you don't, like I don't have a printer that has ink right now, just take a piece of scrap cardboard or paper and just experiment. You're just trying to make something that's, as I said, easy enough to make, and you just want to make sure that it's a good size. So I would say start out with this. Again, it's about 1 inch by 1/8 inch, by about 5.5. So once you have this is called your template. Look through your magazine. You want to find something that's bright if that's the kind of colors you like. For instance, I like a lot of red, so I'm going to go with this polo guy. So from there, take your template, pen or pencil, and you want to mark out a paper bead. I would say for your first time, if you have time, which you may if you're stuck at home, make about 15 paper beads. So sketch out about 15 of these on your page, and if you run out of room, go to another page, because most magazines will have a lot of different varieties of colors. So pick what you like. So once you have a good amount of the paper bead strips, should look like this, you can start the next step, which is rolling them. Now, when you're rolling a paper bead, you want to roll from wide side to narrow side, and you need to look at your bead and see which color you want on the outside. Now, you want to take one of these toothpicks and you want to start rolling. The first part's a little hard. You have to tuck the very wide strip under itself and start rolling it down. So you can see it's rolling. Try to keep it firm so that it's not a lumpy mess. Just keep rolling. When you get to about the last 1/2 inch, it's going to look like this. Okay, so think of it as sort of, your end strip. It's hanging down. You want to take a little bit of your glue and you want to go ahead and wipe it down. Continue rolling, and now you'll see that it's going to stick because, of course, we have our glue stick that's applied to it. So if you drop your toothpick, just find another one, put it back in. So it's going to look like this. And this is where your styrofoam scrap comes in handy if you have it. Put the beads on there, one by one, as you keep going. You'll have a little row of these. It looks like a little row of soldiers. Now, next step from this is you want to apply a glaze, which will strengthen them and make them a bit more durable. Now, I've actually walked into the shower with this when I've not been paying attention, and it's come out fine. Now, I don't recommend you bathe with this, but this glaze that you're going to put on will help quite a bit. So, again, get your paintbrush, dip it in your glue, and just very lightly, you're going to apply a coat onto the surface of each. Now, don't glue it onto the toothpick. Just apply your surface area with the glue, just a thin layer. And you're going to let it sit. Okay, it could take about 1/2 hour to dry. If you're in a huge hurry, feel free to use a hair dryer. Depends on your situation. Okay, so let that sit. Now I do recommend, as you may see, that I have both paper and plastic beads, so I kind of alternate. So if that's something you're interested in and you have some beads, that's another option. It's definitely not necessary. You can also just use your regular beads. So you can use a time while everything's gluing to sort through your regular beads if you're going to use them. If not, get yourself ready for your string or your cord or your elastic or whatever you have. You can get that prepared. I always tell people when I teach this program, you don't want to start out with a small piece of string. Always use something bigger than you think you're going to need, because you can always trim it at the end. Okay? So be generous. This is probably about 2 feet long, which is probably more than I need, but that's okay. So again, the ends are loose, so you'd want to be careful as you're threading, because you can tie them in the end. Or if you're worried, you could try to tie a knot with a bead on the end to keep everything from falling. So once your paper beads have dried, you can now begin your process of threading things on. Okay? As I said, I usually alternate paper and a plastic bead. So here I am with my paper bead, and then I have some plastic beads that I got. Kind of it's a silvery bead that adds a little bit of a zip. I put that on, and I just keep going. You know, just think about your color scheme, or if you just want to be totally spontaneous, that's okay too. There's really no right or wrong way to do this. And you'll find that when you're done, this makes a great gift if you want to mail it to somebody. For somebody that you will see once quarantine's over, you can save it for them. If you have any Sunday comics, that's a good way to wrap these. So just keep going until you get to your very end. You'll know how long you want your project to be, because you can hold it up to yourself, or if you're putting it on your wrist using elastic, you can test it. So once you've completed your whole project, if this is going to be a gift, I would suggest you tie a very loose slip knot on the end, and that way the person can adjust it. So you're going to make a loop, sort of looks like a circle, and you'll have your dangling piece here, and you're going to put it on. Just pull it. It's going to look like that, and that way if the person gets it, they can adjust it to how they want it. They can start over and make it to their size. So that's what I would recommend. I want to thank you for watching this. Again, this was Amina recording this from my kitchen in Newburgh, New York. And this was Paper Beads Craft, which is for ages 8 or 9 and up. Thank you.